Welcome to Stepping Stones to AAC. Tonight we're doing shapes and colors. I'm Heather Prenevo and I have Brittany Tony with me tonight, and we're going to share some ideas. So again, welcome. Thank you for joining us in our Stepping Stones to AAC classroom. I'm Heather Prenevo. I am the Bitmoji on the left, and I have my good friend Brittany here.
Hello, everyone. I am the Bitmoji on the right. I am a speech-language pathologist, and I cover Saltillo products in southwestern Ohio, Indiana, and northern Kentucky. And as Heather mentioned, this is our Stepping Stones to AAC classroom. You will see, I will post the link to this in the chat window here in a minute, where you can actually go, and it's an interactive classroom. So on the bookshelf there, you'll be able to click on the icons and it'll take you to the recording for that specific class that we have done. If you can't click on it, that just means it hasn't been uploaded yet. It might be available on our website though, if you check that out. We also have a low-tech core board over there on the wall, which will take you to a link to those, as well as our core word of the week, Go, will take you to some materials and implementation tools for you. So check it out. And like I said, I'll chat that here in a second.
Thank you, Brittany. And yes, I'm a speech-language pathologist as well, and I am the AT consultant for Saltillo in Minnesota and Wisconsin. So welcome. We're going to begin our AAC journey tonight in Stepping Stones to AAC. We know that as you learn about AAC or you're experiencing it with your child who uses AAC, there's a lot of phases and a lot of different steps along the way. And so here at Saltillo, we want to be part of your journey and help you learn more about the device and how you can use it with your child. And I just love the little smile on his face. So what the handouts that we have, Brittany is going to explain to you.
Sorry. So tonight we are going to talk about identifying core words and strategies to model during crafts with shapes and colors. So because it's Valentine's Day this weekend, we thought it'd be kind of fun to go over some activities with you that you might be able to implement with your AAC user during an activity with shapes. But we can, you can do hearts or you can do other shapes. So this handout here is our planning form, so our Stepping Stones to AAC planning form. And this will help you, we're going to go through this step by step together, but this is just for you to have. You can fill it out now, you can make copies, hand it to colleagues, give it out to parents. Parents, you can copy it, save some for later. We're going to go through each step of these together. And then this sheet is also in your materials tab. And if you've joined us, the materials will be the same for this training as they were for the other trainings. But this is a reference sheet. So this is our Stepping Stones to AAC reference guide. So before we had the planning form, this is our reference guide. Again, so after the training, you said, you think, oh my gosh, I can't remember what we talked about or how to do this step. Well, this is just for you to refer back to in order to help you determine what we did, think about what we did during tonight's training, and explain each step for you if you forget. Or again, you can hand this out to colleagues or other parents and families for you to just refer back to. So that's what that is.
So as Brittany mentioned, we chose shapes and colors because who doesn't like making some homemade crafts, gifts, cards around the holidays, especially for Valentine's. There's lots of flexibility in what kind of craft you do with shapes and colors, and that was the other reason we wanted to do something like this. Knowing that we want to be able to reuse and have a variety so that there's repetition in what your child is seeing on their device. You can bring in new words to add to your phrases when we're doing shapes and colors. So if they're just, labeling things right now, maybe they're just talking about their favorite color blue, we can still show them and model for them some of those extra words like blue circle or big blue, so that they can start adding those details and making their language a little more rich. Plus, there's just lots of reasons for communicating when we're doing crafts. You can comment on things, they can request things, they can direct other people's actions, they can share information. And so we can move beyond just the requesting, which is often where we start with our AAC users, and build up to other things that they can talk and communicate for.
Okay, and this is just, this is also in your handouts. This is a low-tech board that we're going to be using and that you can refer back to help you choose some core words that we're going to talk about tonight during the activity. So you can use this during the training to help you think of some core words that Heather might be saying in the video. And then again, this is just something for you to have to use with your AAC user when you're modeling. Just a quick and easy way to model instead of doing it on the device. You can do either, but this is just a fun way to do it too.
Yes. So as Brittany mentioned, kind of use this to be thinking about words you're hearing. Core words are such a great way to start using some of those words that we can use across different activities. And this is a good reference. So the first video tonight, I'm going to preface that I begged and borrowed my teenage daughter, who is not an AAC user, but to have another set of hands to interact during the activity. I'm hoping as soon as some of the COVID restrictions let up that we're able to get back out into the schools and the clinics to actually work with some of our AAC users so you can see that in action. But you'll get an idea of how I'm interacting, what I'm saying. And so if you want to jot down on your notes or in the chat window, any of the core words you're hearing me use throughout this video. And tonight we're trying something new because we have had some audio difficulties on my end before. So if you're not able to hear tonight's video, it is closed captioned, so you'll be able to read what is going on in the screen. Oops. There we go. All right. Power triangle. So we're going to take out our organizational tool and we're going to fill it in together. So if you want to chat out, what are some core words you heard us use during that video? And I'll type them on the screen.
I saw on.
Put and on, good.
Want.
Good.
Good one. You.
I tried to use you and I more tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And there's
a pronoun.
Yeah. So those are great ones, and actually those are ones that I picked out. So you guys are right on tonight. Our next step then, if I can get it to, there we go, is to look at open-ended questions. And so open-ended questions, if you are not familiar with them, they encourage communication. They provide us the opportunity to keep going with the conversation, keep adding, and it's not a yes-no type of answer. So on the screen, we have two examples of questions. Which one would you say is the open-ended question? Do you want more? Or what did you put on the card? Question 1 or question 2? Tiffany and Sheila say number 2, and I agree. So when
Great job.
Right? When we ask, what did you put on the card? She had a ton of shapes on there. So we have the opportunity for her to pick which one she wants to talk about. We don't have to have it already thought of. We don't have to know and predict what she's going to be saying because we have options that are there. If I just ask, do you want more? We get a yes, no answer, and then there's nothing really we can talk about. So we can also then start adding those adjectives and describers like, oh, you put a heart on there? We have purple hearts, and show them how to expand it. So the second step on our organizational tool is to script out or write down some questions so that when you're in the spur of the moment doing your activity, you don't have to be thinking, oh, what could I ask that has these core words? So what are some questions that you could do that either have put in the question or the answer has put? I know the sample one I had was where did I put it? It could be as simple as put on. Any other ideas for the put?
Put on heart or triangle. Put on blue or red.
Yeah. Put on top or bottom.
Bottom, that's good. Yeah.
Perfect.
I put, there's lots of easy one, I think.
How about, and I was wrong, I chose the word have instead of want because we haven't talked about have in a while. So what are some questions that we could put have or practice have? Maybe what do you have? Can I have? I like it.
Good.
And that one might not be as many varieties of questions, but the ability to answer those questions and use have, I think, can be really meaningful.
Or if you wanted to have the AAC user use the word have, you could say, oh, sharing, that's good. Can he have? That's great. I was going to say, maybe you could say something like, which shape? And then the client could say, or AAC user could say, have triangle. or something like that. So that's another way you could do that too. I like the sharing idea.
I do too. Social skills are always good to plop in as well. And then probably the easier one is questions that either have I or you, or the answer is going to have I or you. So we could even repeat some of the ones like, what do you have? Because the answer then could be I have, you have.
Yep.
Any other questions that you can think of? Could also start doing which one do you want?
Or which one you like.
Mm-hmm.
Then you could comment, I like, whatever it is.
Good example. You guys get the idea? You do it, especially, yes, I like that. Especially if they want you to do it for them, yes.
Yes. Promoting independence.
Exactly. No, I like that one. The next step is then to think of possible comments, which we've kind of started to talk about already, in that if they're not responding to those open-ended questions, which we know many kids, especially that are just starting with AAC, might not be answering those questions yet. So we can model the comment that they could possibly say. So if we ask a question like, which one do you want? And they point, we could say, oh, okay, you want, and show them the answer to it. We want to write down a couple of comments that we can model so that, again, we don't have to think about it later while we're doing the activity. You have some ideas already written down to start thinking about. And the last tip that we give is that we want to keep these comments, these questions, or things we're modeling at just above their language level. Meaning if they're just touching one or two buttons right now or saying one or two words, we don't want to be modeling 5, 6, 7 button word or sentences. We don't want to, we can still talk in longer sentences, but we aren't expecting them to be repeating those on their device at this point. We want to show them and slowly build. So kind of the key thought is no more than 2 to 3 words beyond what they're saying currently or what they're pressing on their device. So thinking of that, what are some comments that we could throw in to our script for the word put? I think you guys had already said put on. So we can keep them simple, or we can model longer too. Put on top was one to
put blue heart on, or put on two, like that quantifier.
Or I put it on, put more. Ooh, nice. How about the word have? What are some comments that we can do with have? I'm going to go with I have it. Good. I have one. You have purple star. Very good. And then again, probably the easier of the 3 is using those pronouns. So you can, I do it, I have it, I like it. That one's my favorite. Or
you can even
to say I don't like it.
Yeah. And you can even reuse some of these phrases that we've already said, like you have purple star, or you put on more, or something like that. And sometimes I think I get questions about that a lot. Well, I've already said that before. We've already said that in a different way during the session, and that's okay. Sometimes, especially early AAC users who are just beginning, they need to hear some of those phrases over and over again, and it's okay to model those words over and over again. So that's okay to repeat yourself if you can't think of anything else. That's okay. Sometimes that's good.
That repetition is sometimes key for them to have it stick. And I don't know the exact number, but I know the research shows like it's 150 or 250 repetitions before they become more independent with a string of words or a pathway, or you start using it independently. So the more we say it, the more we model it, the more options they're getting to have it. So.
Yeah, and they kind of liken that to reading and literacy. So the more you read a word, the better you're going to be at reading it out loud, right? And then you can write it. So it's the same kind of idea teaching AAC.
Perfect. So then the last step is step 3, and how will you model? And this, again, is similar to step 2, only that we start thinking about and really be purposeful in the 2 or 3 or 4 word model, depending upon where your child is at. So it can, again, be repetitive from up above, or you start to add on. So if I did put glue on heart, and we can slowly expand. So you've kind of thought it through, like how, if your child surprises you that day and they did put glue and you're like, woohoo, what can I model that's just 1 above that or 2 above that? Now you've got some ideas already on your paper. So before we actually start doing the activity with our child, we want to take our planner and then find those words on your low-tech board or on your child's device. And so that way you know where it is, you've seen it, you're not struggling to find it in the moment because you've kind of already looked and located it. Now you can draw on the laminated low-tech boards and highlight. We've shown how you can do like a post-it note and cut out a hole so that you're really honing in on that. If you're practicing on their device, you can add a border around the button. So again, it draws your eye to it. It doesn't impact how the device is doing anything, but you'll be able to find it a lot quicker. No, not at all. Personal preference. And just how sometimes the way I put my phrases together when I'm doing those shorter ones. So good question, Sheila. Yeah. All right, so we have our second video. If you want to practice along tonight, I did do the video with a device versus the low-tech board because I did bring us in, and you'll see in a second, under groups, there is a shapes and colors page. So then you have everything all on one page. If you have Chat Editor on a PC computer, you could print out that page and have that along as a low-tech option too. So just again, trying to give you more ideas and more examples of how it could be used. So if you want to practice along with us, here is the video with modeling.
Let's go to our shapes page. Shapes and colors. What color should we start with? Square.
I'm going to pause there for sake of time. You guys kind of got the idea. The other reason I like that shapes and colors page in the Word Power 60 Basic is what we were using, is that we have access to the I, the U. When you press I or U, then we get the option to have like or have. So it's all right there. We didn't have to navigate back and forth. And then put is actually on that main screen there in shapes and colors. So sometimes even just digging around into the vocabulary file that your child's using and finding what's on that page for the activity can help you plan what you want to say and what you want to model. So before we go tonight, we'd like you to just reflect on what are your thoughts after trying this out, practicing this? What questions do you still have when it comes to modeling? And how do you feel during practice time? What are some next steps that you have for yourself and your user? You want to chat out any questions? Share your thoughts, your reflections?
Is this something you'll use on Sunday or during a Valentine's Day party at school? I know my kids are very excited about Valentine's Day parties.
I know my kids are now older that other than getting some Valentines for close friends, we don't make good cards anymore.
Well, it's all the rage when you're 3 and 5. So
exactly. Well, we'll stay on if there are questions. Good. Yes, Tiffany, I agree. Incorporating core words with crafts, there's just so much we can do with it.
Yeah, so easy to do that with crafts for sure.
I always figure there's some type of craft that kids like. So you can usually find something that your child enjoys. If it's not, gluing shapes on, coloring, painting, finger paint. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. Have a great rest of your night.